Oh, we have not done magnetic dipole moment of electron. We have not done circular current carrying loop in a magnetic field. I don't know. I can't remember. The moving coil galvanometer. Oh, I didn't know that moving coil galvanometer is the last part of the chapter. Okay, so all friends, let us start working. I hope all of you are back. He'll come after your schools reopen, then he'll come again. He has to do 11th also, he has to do, so he will do. Don't worry, he will do. He is not going anywhere. He is here only. Sir, can we leave now and join at 2:20? Yeah. Why? What is your problem? No. Nobody can leave now. Don't worry about all that. Okay, we will start our work. Yeah. So let us start our work. So here, question number 1. Please work out question number 1. Please work out 4.14. Yes, I am waiting. So we are going to work on first 4.14, 15, 16. So I'm waiting for you. I hope you have started working with 4.14. So yeah, 4.14. Please work on 4.14. Moving coil galvanometer. I have put video also. Watch video. Two concentric circular coils X and Y have radius 16 centimeters, 10 centimeters, lie in the same vertical plane containing the north to south direction. Coil X has 20 turns and carries a current this much. Coil Y has this much. The sense of the current in X is anti-clockwise, and current Y is clockwise in Y. At the coil, looking at the coil facing west, they are asking you give the magnitude and direction of the magnetic field. .14. Please do 4.14, 15, 16. Hey, you guys are talking more, working less, so please work more. Where will be the video? In STG. Go to stg.learnity.com, put your ID, and then there you will see one video. I had promised to put one more video. I'll put that today. If you want to know where to go and see that, go to open a new browser, STG, username, go to subjects, physics, anything you click, moving charges, galvanometer, solenoids and toroids is here, Oersted experiment is here, maybe I put it in JEE mains. Yeah, galvanometer, conversion of galvanometer to voltmeter. So you have this here. So full galvanometer will be there here. Okay, everything is there. Everything is there. The conversion of galvanometer to voltmeter and ammeter is also there. Then that worksheet that I gave you, I put a video for that also. Yeah, question number 4.14. Have we finished it? Yes, 4.14. Have we finished it? Yes, Abhishek, there was an article. I was also reading that article. So it is saying that you limit it to 3 hours. So I will reduce it. Don't worry. Huh? But the article doesn't say that next year when you go to write the JEE mains or this thing, there will be 13 lakh students and you have to win with 13 lakh students. Oh, why? Yesterday there was one article, somebody said he got 24 in chemistry and then he became an IAS officer. Yeah, 5 pi into 10 power minus 4. Okay, so Soumya is working. The others are all talking and doing unnecessary things. Yes. Waiting for 2-3 more answers. Question number 4.14, NCERT textbook. Question number 4.14, please work out. So there are 2 concentric circles. So first draw the concentric circles, one of radius 16 and the radius 10. One has 20, one has 25. So first, whenever you get questions of this kind, you have to draw the diagrams and then work. So here there will be one like this. There will be one like this. Now one is clockwise, one is anti-clockwise. Based on that, you are facing west. So you are looking at it this way. So now you can make out. This is west, this is east, this is north, and this is south. Yeah. So now you can make out. So because they are circular coils, the magnetic field is mu naught I by 2r. 2r. So it is n into mu naught I by 2r. This is for one circle, for one loop. Because there are n loops, it will be this much. So the currents are given to you, radius is given to you, number of turns is given to you. So based on that, you can find out. One is clockwise, clockwise is negative, anti-clockwise is positive. So based on that, you can find out whether it is going to be clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay. Okay, okay. So others, please quickly work out and let us be sincere. 4.14, 15, 16. We are working out on those 3 questions. So let us sit today and let us quickly finish off these. The moment you finish off these, we go back home. No class. If you finish it in 1 hour, 1 hour. If you take 2 hours, 2 hours. If you take 5 hours. Totally how many are there? Yeah. 14 questions only. So we can do it very fast if you all cooperate. So 4.14 I have done. Please work on 4.15. 4.15, we know B is equal to mu naught Ni. So we just want to know, so they have a uniform region of dimensions 10 cm and a cross sectional area of that much. The maximum current carrying capacity is given by 15 ampere. So, and the number of turns per unit length that can be wound around the core is at most so many. So you first check for this much, how much will you get? Suppose I use all these dimensions as it is, that it should have linear dimension of about 10 centimeters and the area of cross section is this much. So my magnetic field B is equal to mu naught N into I. Okay, so B is given to me 100. Sorry, it is 100. I forgot the units. It is 100 Gauss. So 1 Gauss is 10 power minus 4 Tesla. So we will get how much? So what we do? So we have 10 power square into 10 power minus 4 is equal to 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 into I is 15 into N. Into 15. Just 1 second. I have some. Okay, bye. Yeah, so the way we go ahead is we were working on that. So we get N now, if you just want to sort this out. So it is 10 power minus 2 is equal to 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 into 15 into N. So N will become equal to 10 power minus 2 by 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 into 15. So this is equal to 5 zeros divided by 60 into pi. So these two gets cancelled. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So this is like 3.14. So 3.14. So if you divide this itself, it will become 3140. Yeah, 3140 divided by 6. So that is approximately 520. So you need 520 tons. So if you get 520 tons, it will work out. Okay. When I didn't share the screen, so many people are responding. But when I ask a question, nobody answers. Okay, so we have B is equal to mu naught into N into I. Okay, so B is given to me as 100 Gauss. 100 Gauss is 100 into 10 power minus 4 Tesla. So that is equal to 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 into N. N is what? N is, N I don't know. Into I. I is what? I is current, that is 15. Right. So if I go by this, this will become 10 power minus 2. It comes up here, become 10 power 5. Yeah. So 10 power 5 divided by 4 pi into 15. So that is equal to 10 power 5 by 60 into pi. So that is equal to 10 power 4 by 6 into pi. So that is equal to 10 into 10 power 3 by 6 into pi. So pi will become here pi. Pi squared is 10. So that is equal to 31.4 into 10 squared by 6. 6 will go 5 times here. 6 5 is 30. 6 2 is 12. 0.3, and then it goes on. So it will become 5230. So the total number of turns is, sorry, 5230. Yeah. Oh, but they have given a condition. Sorry, it is 523. 523 is the total number of turns. So that is the question. Okay. Bye. Class let. Okay, so I don't know how you guys get these numbers. I don't know. 8,000. Okay, I've started. Max current is 15 ampere. I put 15 ampere. I have put 15 ampere. Mu naught Ni maximum current is 15 ampere. I have put that. So when I work that out, I get 523 turns. So 523 turns per meter. So they're asking you for the design parameters. So it should be 523 turns per meter. Okay, doesn't matter. Yeah, 530 is fine, no problem. It depends on how much you calculate. Yes, others, are we getting this answer? Yes, Sanjana, are we done? Levin, Harris, are we getting it? Yeah, I'm just trying to find out. They have given you the design constraints because they have said 15 amperes is the maximum. I'll try to put 15 maximum. So you can also work it with. Yes, Levin, are we there? Are we working it out? Lavanya, Malarvan, Vibhu, where are we? We have finished. But why is the area given? We will discuss that. Next question, 15th one. No, next question is we have to discuss that. Here there are some more small queries given to you. The question is, why are we given about the dimensions of it, right? So we are given the dimensions of it. Now there is one more thing that I haven't taught you about. I'll discuss that. See, in case of a solenoid, there is something called as an end effect. Okay, end effect means what? So see, this is a solenoid, right? So if this is a solenoid, so it keeps going on like this. Yeah. Now in this particular zone at the center of the solenoid, you can assume the B to be uniform. Yeah, all the wires will contribute to the magnetic field and the B will be uniform. But when you look at these wires, now these wires, the contribution of these wires will become very less here. So as you come towards the end, the magnetic field won't remain as the same as what it was before. So if I have to draw a graph of the distance from this point and how the magnetic field varies, so the magnetic field goes up and then it remains a straight line, and then again the magnetic field comes down. So we want that uniform part to be here. So you can't have a dimension exactly of the same length and expect that magnetic field to be uniform there. So you will need to have it slightly longer on both sides, so that you are not worried about this zone where the magnetic field is still not added up enough to produce that constant magnetic field. Okay, so that is why the dimensions are given, so that you know, you take a tunnel, you take a funnel or whatever, and then you first wrap it. Now this area, this cross sectional area should match the required cross section. Then it is not enough to put it in that given length and then go, because of this end effect. So you want to put it in a slightly more a larger region, and then measure and then check whether it really meets your requirements or not. So this was a more generalistic question for you to understand this whole concept of end effect. This is what is referred to as the end effect. Same thing in a capacitor. In a capacitor, suppose you have a capacitor, we say the electric field is this way. Yes, but in the end, the electric field goes this way. Okay, so these are the end effects. So you have to remove the end effects and then worry about that. Okay. Yeah. So, but even in the area which you said is having the constant magnetic field, the contribution from both sides won't be the same at all points, right? Yes, that is why you have to have it large enough so that on an average it will be the same. So if I have just this kind of a solenoid, this is the middle. So only this portion will have a uniform magnetic field. Now as I increase the size where it will have a uniform magnetic field will increase. Of course, this also won't be a perfect horizontal, but it will be a near horizontal. We are good enough at that. Okay, so these are not very simple. There's still a lot of it there for us to think. Okay, so please look at the 16th question now. You guys are doing good. Quickly, if you finish it off, we are done for the day. For a circular coil, they're asking you to first show that the radius to the familiar result for the field at the center of the coil. So you just have to put x is equal to 0. So if you put x is equal to 0, you will get mu naught Ni by 2r. Now the next part is what is the important part. Consider two parallel coaxial circular coils of radius r and number of turns n carrying equal current same direction and separated by a distance r. Show that the field on the axis around the midpoint. So first draw the diagram and then work. So these are what is known as Helmholtz coils. So first draw the diagram and then work. So this is how the diagrams will look like. So you have one set of coils here, you have another set of coils here. This is the axis and they are talking about the distance in between them. So you have mu naught Ni a square by 2 times x square plus a square power 3 upon 2. They are asking you to find out, consider two parallel coils, equal radius r, this carrying equal currents and then separated by distance of r. They are separated by a distance of r. So if they are separated by a distance of r, now this is also r. So the magnetic field due to the first total magnetic field will be 2 times the magnetic field. So this will become mu naught Ni r squared by this will become 2 power 3 by 2, because this is r, this is r. The distance that we are, so it will become r squared plus r squared. So 2 power 3 by 2 into r cubed. So these two get cancelled. So I have mu naught Ni by 2 power 3 by 2. So this is going to be the magnetic field in this region. So now we want to simplify this to what they are saying. Just check if this will go to what they are saying. So this will become root 2 by 4. Root 2 by 4 mu naught Ni. So, I mean, check. Yeah, they're just. Can you explain the effect once again? Sir, here are solenoids meant as coils. So they are asking for particular designs. So that does mean that it is enough for us to find. Yeah, number of turns per unit length is enough. And then obviously the area, you have to have more than that area which is there. Yeah, so L must be much greater than R. That is the condition. Okay, so I am saying that the end effect, if you take a solenoid like this, so the magnetic field of the solenoid at the end will be low. And as you go towards the center only, it goes the high value, and then again towards the center, it reduces. So we try to use the solenoid between its center, at its center, so that you get that uniform magnetic field. So you have to manage the distance. So they have 10 centimeters length is given to you. So 10 centimeters length, you need 530 coils. Now they have given to you that 1 meter can take maximum of 1000. So if 1 meter can take maximum of 1000, you will need 530 centimeters. So you go by little bit more. 530 centimeters is also a little bit on the higher side. So you go for 530 coils placed between 530 centimeters of it. The cross sectional area is given to you. Yeah, work out on the third question. The third question is a more interesting question. Two parallel coaxial wires of radius r and the number of turns is given carrying equal currents in the same direction and separated by distance r, so that the field at the midpoint between the two coils. Yeah, so I made a small error. It is separated by r, so it will become r by 2. So that's what error that I made. This r by, work that out, you will get the answer. Yeah. I have to take r by 2. If I take r by 2, then you will get it. Are we getting it? So draw diagrams. This question had come in a JEE advanced paper before. They asked you to draw the graph of magnetic field from one end to the other end. Same question, they asked you to draw, suppose there is one coil here, another coil here, this is separated by some distance. They asked you to draw the magnetic field as you went from here to here. That was a JEE advanced question. Yes, there are only 3-4 students who are replying. Now I have to call up one by one and find out where they are. Gokul, Pranav, Abhinaya, Ajmal, Lavanya. Lavanya has said she has done it. Manisha, Pranav, Vibhu. Where are you guys? You guys are there. Yeah. Done? Really? Okay. Anyway, I'm going to check your notes in a few days. Okay. So Monday onwards, I'll be checking your notes. So please be ready with it. Don't give me excuses then. Okay. So remember, this is what is referred to as Helmholtz coil. Okay. Next, look at 417, 417, 418. Please look at 417, 418. Yeah, so 4.17 is quite easy. So that question, we simply apply limits from x is equal to 0. No, the question was to draw the graph. So you have to draw the graph. So yeah, it was more complicated than what you said. Basically, what happens is, as you go from here to here, the magnetic field increases up to a point. And then the magnetic field decreases, and then again on the both sides it is going to be the same. So it's a little bit more complicated than what you were thinking. See, the magnetic field is mu naught n I a square by x square plus a square power 3 upon 2, some 2 times this, right? So now where does this maximize? What is the maximum value for this? So we had to worry about that, and then we had to work it out. So if you can work it out, you will get it. So yeah, find out the magnetic field here, find out the magnetic field in between, and then you have to draw the graph. Okay. So you have to think a little. It is not, no question in JEE will be such that you just get it. Yeah. Max at midpoint, I think. No. Marks come with a lot of difficulties. So you can't think. You have to work it out and then check. Okay. So anyway, fine. My dear friends, let's start working quickly. Look at the next question. Tell me the answer for the 18th question. Sorry, 17th question. 17th question, there is a toroid. The outer radius and the inner radius is given to you. Outer radius and the inner radius is given to you. So how does it work? So this is the outer radius, 26 centimeters. This is the inner radius, 25 centimeters. So I need to know this length. So that length will become equal to 2 pi r. So 2 pi r will become 2 pi 25.5. So it will become 51 pi. In 51 pi, you have some 3000 turns. In 51 pi, you have 3500 turns. Okay, so the way I go ahead is that it is B is equal to mu naught n I by 2 pi r. So I just substitute. So 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 into 3500 into 11 divided by 2 pi r. 2 pi r. R is how much? R is 25.5. 2 pi into 25.5. So here pi gets cancelled. The 2 will go here 2 times. So now I need to work this out. So this is like 51 into 2. Now I can work this out. So this gives me the answer. So many Tesla. Tesla is the unit of magnetic field. Why did I take 25.5? Because this inner radius is given to me, outer radius is given to me. So at the center, it will be that much. Okay. So B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2 pi r. So we are going to just substitute. Okay. Okay, good. So if this is working out, great. Yeah. Please sincerely work, my dear friends. I can't see you, but please work. Now the question is, what is the magnetic field outside the toroid? 0. Inside the core of the toroid, we found out. In the empty space surrounding the toroid, even that is 0. So option A is 0. Option C is 0. Option B only we have found out how much it is. Okay. In reality, suppose you have a toroid. I told you that even a solenoid, the magnetic field outside is 0. The magnetic field outside is not 0. Actually, you can assume it to be a straight current carrying wire I and find out what is the magnetic field. So it is simply mu naught I by 2 pi d. That is equal to the magnetic field outside the solenoid. Same way, when you put it in a circle, the magnetic field here is simply equal to mu naught I by 2 times r. Okay. So the magnetic field here is mu naught I by 2r. Magnetic field outside is 0. in the core of the solenoid, it is mu naught Ni by 2 pi r. So we have found these out. Okay, so this is how you work with it. Okay, so now if you understand that, let's look at 4.18. 4.18 is also very simple, not very difficult. So quickly do 4.18, 4.19. Please work on 4.18. Yeah, so 18th one, A, straight path means what? The magnetic field is in the direction of velocity. So whenever magnetic field is in the direction of velocity, there will be no force acting. So it will continue to move straight. Yeah, parallel. Parallel. So that is the first one. So now work out BC. Yeah, please work out B and C. So in question B, In question B, there would not be any change in the velocity, because a magnetic field can only do work perpendicular to it. So perpendicular velocity, perpendicular force will not change the velocity. It will only make it move in a complicated path, circular path. The third question, see, the electrons are moving from west to east. Suppose the magnetic field is from north to south, suppose. Okay, then the nature of the magnetic field, this is the electric field. Then the nature of the magnetic field should be such that it should push the particle this side. Only then it will move in a straight line. So let me assume the magnetic field is into the plane of paper. If I assume the magnetic field is into the plane of paper, if I use my right hand rule, I get the thumb pointing in the opposite, in the north direction. But this is an electron. Because this is an electron, the force will be in this direction. But you want the force in the opposite direction. So what will you do? You just change the direction of the magnetic field. So if the electric field is the way I have given, then electronic charge into V into B must be equal to E into E. Cancel, cancel. So V must become equal to E by B. So you have to have a magnetic field such that V is equal to E by B for the particle to move in a straight line. I told you how to find out the direction. Think about it, you will get it. First, draw the graph, draw the drawing, draw the way the electrons are moving, draw the electric field, assume some direction for the magnetic field, use the right hand rule, check in which direction your thumb is. Your thumb should be in the direction of the electric field. Why? Because we have a negative charge, right? So accordingly, things will change. But you can just ignore the negative charge, because the electric field also, the force will be reverse. So if there is an electric field in this direction, for the electron, the force will be in this direction. So on this, you want the force in this direction. So if you want the force in the downward direction, for the given condition, the thumb points in the upward direction. If the upward direction means for this, then, but you have a negative charge. Because of the negative charge, the force will be in this direction. That is the direction in which you want the force. So that is the correct answer. So it will be into the plane of paper. Only change the direction and not magnitude of velocity. You're true. A magnetic force can only change the direction and not the magnitude. Okay, electric field is in the north-south direction. That's what I have done. This is the north, this is the south. So electric field is in the north-south direction. Because it's an electron, negative charge, the force is in the upward direction. So the magnetic field should also have a force in the, should have a force in the downward direction. So V cross B. So stretch your right hand in the direction of B. So the thumb points in this direction. But because it is negative charge, the force will be in the downward direction. So this is what we need to worry. So the force is in the downward direction. So magnetic field is into the plane of paper. Must be into the plane of paper. Yeah. Okay, so C part, the magnetic field must be into the plane of paper. Then 19th one, work out 19th one. 19th one, please work out. Field into the paper, Levin, doesn't mean it is downwards. Downwards is basically north-south. Okay, field into the plane of paper, you may say negative, but you can't say downwards. Okay. Yeah, so yes, Harris, you have something to say. Into means 3D. Yeah, the moment you got it, into means 3D. While if you say downwards or upwards, it's basically 2-dimensional. Yes. Next question. Electric field pulls it up. Yeah. Which question are you talking of? Yes, electric field pulls it up. Magnetic field pulls it down. Yeah. You didn't take the charge of the electron. You didn't take charge of the electron, or by mistake, because you're using your right hand to write, you might have used your left hand. One of those two mistakes. Yes, friends, I'm expecting the 19th one to get done. We have still quite a few more left. So the 19th one, so 19th one, you have a electron. So you have a 2 kilovolt. An electron is accelerated to 2 kilovolt. It means half mv square equals 2 times E into 10 power 3 joules. Okay, so now in the first case, when you have a transverse magnetic field, transverse means across, so it is 0.15 Tesla. right? So now the particle is going this way. So now when the particle is going this way, the particle will move in a pure circle such that r is equal to mv by bq. Yeah, mv is what? Momentum, p squared by 2m, root over of ke. Ke is p squared by 2m, so 2m ke. Now what is ke equal to? Ke will be equal to e into v, so that is equal to root over of 2mev. What is this? This is the momentum, so this divided by b into e. Okay, so this will give you the radius in the first case. So in the first case, it will move in the circular path such that E into V is equal to P squared by 2M. So P is equal to root over of EV to M. So you apply all this and then you get your answer. In the second case, it's at an angle. In the second case, it's at an angle. So when it is at an angle, the magnetic field, the velocity, there's a velocity component in the direction of the magnetic field. So it moves in a circle and it moves. So in the second case, it will move in a helical path. Yeah. How do we say it's a circular path? Whenever the magnetic field and velocity are perpendicular, it is going to be a circular path. You have to read. Who is this? Yes, Soumya, what is your problem? How do you say it's a circular path? Whenever magnetic field is perpendicular to velocity, it will be a circular path. When will it be helical path? Whenever there is a velocity component parallel to the magnetic field. So in the second case, there is a velocity component parallel to the magnetic field because it is given to you that it comes at an angle some 30 degrees or something. Is it clear? Yes, my dear friends, others, where are you all? So 2 kilovolt is given to you. 2 kilovolt is given to you means you know that it is per 2K, 2000 volt. In the second case, because it makes an angle 30 degree with the initial velocity, then what will happen is there will be a velocity component parallel and perpendicular. So whenever there are velocity components parallel and perpendicular, then it will be moving in a helical path. Yeah. Okay, so if you all are getting it, then let's do the next question. The next question that we have to do is 4.20. So can we work on that? So in each of these questions now they are trying to explain to you how the earlier scientists conducted their experiments. So he has given you the magnetic field, then he has given you the kinetic energy of the electron, then he has given you the electrostatic field. Then he is asking you to make a guess on what the beam contains. Now velocity is equal to b e by b, so there is no q in it. Only if q is known you can make a guess. If q is not known, there is no way you can make a guess. So there is no way you can make a guess. That is why the answer is not unique. It can be any particle. This is a simple velocity selector. All particles which are accelerated through 15 kilovolt enters this region in a direction perpendicular to both the axes. So you can now find out. And they move straight. There are two mutually perpendicular electric and magnetic fields, and there is no net force. If there's no net force, we know V is equal to this much. So now V is equal to, you can find out. Oh, we have to make a guess, right? So yeah, so we can say that next one, we have V is equal to E by B. So we can find out E. Now half mv square is equal to Q into E. So you have no Q into V, sorry. You have no idea of Q, but you can still try to work it out. So you can bring the M down. Then you can take this 2 and then you can put a root over. Yeah. So from there you can get some approximate. Now you got a velocity, you can try to equate them. Now when you work with them, you get a Q by M ratio. So once you get Q by M ratio, you can say that it may be this, it may be this. Beyond that, you can't say anything. It's a very nice question. .20 is not in syllabus, you are telling me. No, it is very much in syllabus. It's very much in syllabus. 4.20 is a simple velocity selector. Velocity selector, it's a device used to find out the specific mass, sorry, specific charge. Specific charge is nothing but Q by M ratio. See, it is given to you that particles with a specific particles, it is given to you, look at what is given to you. It is given to you that when the beam gets undeflected, when the electrostatic field is this much. So you are given V is equal to E by B, E is given, B is given. So you can find out V. Okay. Now you are told that these particles have been accelerated through a voltage V. So Q into V is equal to half into M into V squared. So 2 times Q by M into V root over is equal to V. That is equal to E by B. So this is known to you. This is known to you. So find out what is the Q by M ratio. Now once you get Q by M ratio, it only tells you the charge to mass ratio. So now we can try to see if we can guess. So because of this ratio, Q by M ratio, it is not unique. So you're getting some 4.8 into 10 power 7 or something. Yeah, so that's what the earlier scientists have found out, and then they try to guess. Suppose it's an electron. So an electron means, what is it? So an electron means it is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 divided by 9.1 into 10 power minus 30. So this becomes 11 here. So this is not a electron. So it can be a proton. So next try to work out with a proton. Proton, I mean, I don't remember the mass. Maybe that's why in Ilan's book it says it is out of syllabus, because they can't give you so many data. They can't give you data of so many particles. But otherwise, I hope you are able to understand how to approach it. That's what is our main goal. Yeah. Okay, good. So let's move on. All of you are not working. Huh? Some of you only are working, others are not working. If we quickly finish, we go. We leave the class and then we go. No need to come back. Okay, please do 4.21. So now there is no electrostatic force, but there is gravitational force. So on one side you have BIL, on one side you have mg. So if BIL is equal to mg, the net force will be 0. So B is equal to mg by IL. So you know mg, you can work out IL. What will be the tension if the direction of the current is reverse, keeping? So now it will become 2 mg. So the wires will become, yeah. So you can find out. 4.21 is very simple. Oh, so Nilan is working with a guide. That's why it's easy. Yeah, so in the 20th one, we know only the Q by M ratio. Because we know only Q by M ratio, it's not of much use to us. mg is working downwards, so gravity is going to pull it upwards. So if you don't want any tension in the wire, so the magnetic force should be up so that there is no G. Now if you reverse the direction of current, the force will get reversed, then it becomes 2G. That's what I'm saying. Yes, Abhishek. Yeah, so Subiksha, did you get it? Now draw the diagram first. So when you draw the diagram, what do you have? You have one wire here, and then you have a rod. Okay. So now when you pass a current through it, the magnetic field is, if you want tension to be 0, downward force is mg. So upward force can only be BIL, force on a current carrying conductor. So if you want tension is equal to 0, these two should be equal to each other. So mg is equal to BIL. So just work from there and then you get it. Now you are changing the direction of the current. Then this comes down. So 2 mg. Yeah. Okay. 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 Good. So we're done with 21. Now others quickly work. Next week everything will come out. I'm seriously going to check papers. So next week we may have to suspend classes. We may have to suspend classes for a few days and then spend time only in checking papers. So please work on it now. See, in question number 20, there is a small region which has a 7.5 Tesla magnetic field. Okay. Suppose there is a small region here. There is a 0.75 Tesla magnetic field. Now, in the same region, uniform electric field is maintained in a direction normal to the common axis of the coils. Okay. So, an electric field is maintained perpendicular to the common axis. This is the common axis of the coils. So, perpendicular to it, there is an electric field. Okay. So, what is the concept? Do you see that there are two mutually perpendicular electric and magnetic fields? Yeah. Yes. Then what is the concept? concept is that a narrow beam of charged particles accelerated through some volts, the beam remains undeflected. So undeflected when the electrostatic field is 9 into 10 power minus 5. So when this is 9 into 10 power minus 5, then it is undeflected. That means it is doing the work of a velocity selector. So the velocity is equal to E by B. So I know E, I know B, I can find out what is the velocity. Okay, so now velocity can also be known from Q into V, not Q into V, half mv squared is equal to Q into V. So this V is actually equal to 2 Q by M into V root over. So now I can equate that 2 times Q by M into V. Now here when I find out, now all this is known to me, this is also known to me, this is known to me. So Q by M is the only unknown. Now because Q by M is the only unknown, in this question I can find out the charge to mass ratio. I can't find out what particle it is. The question was guess what particle it is. So I can't guess what particle it is. Okay. So I hope you are able to understand. Yeah. Yes. So 21 is also simple. I'll explain to you 21. Next, go to 22. There's a battery here. So there's one wire here. It goes to the motor and comes back. So current goes this way and current comes this way. So now they're asking whether there will be an attraction, repulsion, what is it? So they have given you all the details. So you know the formula, you simply substitute the formula and then you will get it. Yeah, question number 22. Please look at question number 22. We can change to Microsoft Teams. Sometimes Zoom is not opening. Yeah, we can change. I'm okay with it. The only problem with Teams is that there is no volume control. I can't force you to keep quiet. Yeah, because they are opposite currents, it will be a repulsive force. Like parallel currents attract, anti-parallel currents repel. So you can just find out. Okay, so 22 is done. Please do 22. They have given you the length of the wire. They have given you the distance between them. So you have to find, you can find out the force per unit length. So 22, 23 are easy. Draw the diagram. Once you draw the diagram, then things will become easy. Yeah, please work it out. Please work out the next question. 22, 23 are easy. I'm seeing 27, 28 are also very easy. So after this, please finish 27, 28. Please work out 27 and 28. (27, 28). Finish those two, then I'll do them. Good. Yes, whenever you convert to a voltmeter, you have to add resistor. Draw the diagram, and then you will get it. So the answer is simply 18 by 3, 6000 minus 12. So 6000 minus 12 is 59. Yeah, good, good. Do the next one also. Quickly do the next one. Okay. Where are the others? How many are there? 50% is gone. Yes, Niranjan, Pragadish, are you guys there? Niranjan, Pragadish, Prem, Vairavan. How to do that means which one? So here they have given you everything. Magnetic field is given to you. Everything is given to you. So look at the wires and then see which direction the force will be. So torque is equal to A cross B in all the areas. In all the cases, the area vector is, in the first case, if you see, the area vector is perpendicular to the magnetic field. So A cross B will be there. In the second one also A cross B will be there. Third one also A cross B will be there. A cross B, A cross B. Now you see in E and F, A cross B won't be there because the area vector and the B vector are in the same direction. Because they are in the same direction, there won't be any cross product. So the torque on E and F will be 0. So on the rest of them, you can find out A cross B. Now B is in a perpendicular. See, in the case of D, if you see, the area vector is in the XY plane. B is along the Z. So that angle 30 degrees is of no use. Okay, so now they are asking you in which case corresponds to stable equilibrium. Stable equilibrium is the case where there is no force. So E and F will correspond to stable equilibrium. In all the other cases, there will be a torque which will be acting. So now you can find out the magnitude. Everything is given to you. A, B, torque is equal to A cross B. So area is given to you. Magnetic field is given to you. I is given to you. So you can find out what is the torque acting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Workout. So very good. Now I have left you only 2 questions. 24, 25, 26. So 23, 24, 25, 26. So these are the only 4 questions I have left for you. Please make sure that you are completing it. Okay. So yeah. So if you all guys say we'll do that, I will stop it now and then we can move on. You can also relax going by government norms. 3 hours of class with a 10 minutes break in between. Okay, no problem. You guys work it out. You guys work it out. We will move on. Next class also we will do problems. I will be bringing some 4 or 5 problems and then we will work out problems. Next week only we will look at new chapter. Okay. So the other questions, please work it out. We will stop here. Tomorrow also we will discuss some more questions. Friday also we will discuss some more questions and next week only we will look at new chapter. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Thank you. Okay. Bye. Yeah. So happy. You guys are happy that I left you.